Hey guys, my name is Mark from Jazz Guitar Lessons. Welcome to this video. If you're a jazz guitar beginner and you're just starting to learn jazz chords, this video is perfect for you. So you can grab your guitar and off we go. Our goal here is to tackle some of the basic major, minor, and dominant chords and render them as comfortable to you as, say, our C chord or G chord or A minor. Those jazzier chords with extensions, the things you see with 9s and 13s, we will tackle them so they become as obvious. Please see the timestamps in the video below to navigate if you want to learn certain chord qualities, and stay tuned until the end. If all this stuff is pretty easy, then there are other techniques that can help you move forward in your jazz guitar chords, accompaniment, and harmony. So let's get going. First, before we pick up the guitar, I just want to tell you about what makes chords jazzy. And one of my professors in college said is, well, you know, it's chords with numbers, basically. If you're playing rock or country or whatever, you'll play an E minor, and it just says E minor. In jazz, most of the time, what we'll have is a chord with a number. So it would be E minor 7, or it could be a major 9th, right? So that's what's making these chords specifically jazzier and more dense harmonically, right? And just for the record, we will really look at chords in 3 categories. So the major chords will typically have a triangle besides them. So it would be C major 7 or C major 9. Also, sometimes we have capital M, which I find terribly misleading, or Maj, M-A-J, for major, right? And the other chord category would be the minor. So the minor is typically written like that: C minor 9 or C minor 7, sometimes with a small dash, like a hyphen, saying C minus, so it's a minor. And the other chord category is the one that has just a number. For instance, C7 or C9. Those we call dominants, right? So there's the major category, the minor, and the ones that are neither major nor minor, they're dominant. And the best way to see them is you have the letter name and then just a number. So let's get to the fretboard now. Let's start with a C major 9 staple. I love to call this a staple. So use your second finger on the bass, your index on the E note, which is the third, 1, 3. Then we'll get a 7th with the pinky here, which is the B note, and a D. So if you're new to jazz chords, you'll notice, wow, we started to finger the chords with the second finger, which may be uncomfortable at first, but you will get used to it. So this is C major 9. We will not play the bottom string, and we will not play the top string. So we just get the strings A, D, G, and B. Ring out. C major 9. Next up, we have the minor kind of chord. So the same C note here will be used, and we will instead play a C minor 9 like this. This is a bit more of a stretch for you guys, so be careful not to anchor your pinky, your wrist too far away. You simply want to have a spread between your index and second finger. So you go second finger C, E flat with the index, B flat, and D. So this is a C minor 9. Alright, in our third chord category, as promised, the dominants, chords with just a number, we'll have a C9. So I'm playing it fast because it's only one note away. C minor 9 is here with an E flat, and I will go here. If you play rock and funk and stuff like that, you might have already encountered this chord. So here are just a few tips to get further with that. One of the things that makes this very challenging is the change in between the different chord qualities. So one exercise I recommend is that you start with a major one, and you do 4 beats or 8 beats, and you count yourself, so you really strum and be clean with it, and you change to the next chord. So the C9 and C major 9s are pretty easy because they're only one note away. Same with the C9 and the minor 9, it's only one note away. So I'll give you an example of a count of 4 switching between both. Ready? 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, C9. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. So the tip to just switch between the shapes to get used to them is one of which that will have the biggest impact on your playing. Now, another tip as a beginning jazz guitarist, if you want to learn to be really fluid with these chords, the second thing is to start to move the roots. So I played them all from a C root, but those are all movable chord shapes. If you're coming from the world of blues and rock, you'll have the bar, which, you know, if you do a G here, you bar a G. If you go up a fret, it will just change the name but keep the quality. So in case of my C major 9, well, if I went up 2 frets, I still have the same shape. Now call this a D major 9. So essentially, by learning this shape, you learn 12 chords because you got all the different letter names depending on the bass. So what you could practice, referring back to my first tip, would be to do 4 beats on, say, D major 9 and go down to C minor 9 for 4 beats. You could just mix and match any bass notes and any qualities just for drills to get you used to doing these things. Pertaining to that last tip, the thing that you can do with the C minor 9, if it's not comfortable, I recommend you start playing it higher. So if you say, well, I think my root here is an E at the 7th fret, there's less space in between the frets, so it may be easier for you to get started with that sort of shape. So instead of practicing here, you may do E minor 9 or D minor 9 if you wanted, before you get the strength and the stretch to go down at that fret. And lastly, pro tip, one of the best ways to get the most mileage and to become really fluid at changing chords is to pick up a lead sheet like the real book. You can look at Summertime, for instance, or Autumn Leaves, or any good old jazz standard that you'd like to learn, or even blues, and see if you can switch between these shapes on the different root positions. So it may entail a lot of head scratching at first, so if you want to get over that really quickly, I recommend you join the fellowship. It's a totally free community and group with all trainings that are absolute for free. You can hang out with me and thousands of students and really get your chops together by submitting videos and getting precise feedback on it. So now, pro advanced tips. If you have been sitting here and go, yeah, Marc, I know these shapes, I know major 9, I know C9, I know the minor 9, there's 2 more things that you can do that will bring maximum reward in your playing. The first thing will be to make a 1-note move on each. It's easier than it sounds. I'll show you. So if you have the C major 9, there's an alternative chord that you can do by removing the pinky and just pressing down your index to make a partial bar. So now this is called a C6 9. So you go C major 9, da, da, da. So this is a chord variation. This can still be used in a jazz standard. You can use either the C6 9 or the C major 9 interchangeably when you encounter a major chord on a lead sheet. The second chord that you can do that with is the minor 9. So from a C minor 9, I'll encourage you to look at this variation. You're just transferring the 9th to the 3rd. And last thing, with the C9, you can also do that C9 to a C7 sharp 9. That's a Hendrix chord, right? You know Purple Haze? So that's a really good chord to have as well. That's number 1. For pros, start to move 1 note within the chord, that, as I just demonstrated. And also, the other obvious thing is to nail another position for roots on the 6th string. Now, all our C roots were on the 5th string, so I recommend you would go and start to play the C here. And I'll just do a demo quickly of the different shapes you can do from that with their alternative notes, so you get the full deck of cards to start playing on standards. Okay, with our root on the 6th string, we have C6 and C6 9 again. Again, C6 and C6 9. That's a good functional substitute or superimposition for a major chord. If you see C major on a chart, that's it. Remember, you can also move this everywhere. So if you wanted to do G, G6 9, A, B, A, C, D, right? So that's it for a major chord. The next one is the minor. So C, minor 7. You guys that have played funk and bars and stuff, you'll play it like this. Typically you bar and you'll do this and then remove the pinky to get that B flat. So what I recommend is you migrate, use a 2nd finger on that root, and you get a C minor 7, along with a fun variation, top 4 strings, woo! C9, C minor 9, C minor 7, C minor 9. You can use these 2 interchangeably, right? Good. And the 3rd 6th string root is really the C13. So it's our dominant chord, which is our, little sister or brother to this, to the C9. You go C13. And with the variation note, you have a C7 flat 13. Okay, that's it. We ran through the gamut. In about 10 minutes, now you have all the ammo you need to perform 90% of standard progressions. That's it. It takes persistence, patience. You need to apply those. And if you need a hand, of course, join our fellowship group for free. And the concept I just exposed to you in this video that I didn't put a label on is my concept of staple chords. So by using staples with root on the 6th strings and root on the 5th string, these 2 locations, we have effectively a location on each of the bottom string for any of the letter names, because there are 12 notes, right? And the 3 chord qualities. And hence, I can pick a real book, the real book, any chart, any jazz chart, and just look at it, eyeball it, and play convincing comping. No, it's not going to sound like Pat Metheny, it's not going to sound like Bill Evans piano comping, but it will still be accurate as far as describing the chords that are passing by. And then there's way more coming from the staples. We can learn to play the arpeggios and make the changes. For that purpose, of course, I'll recommend you check the rest of this channel, subscribe and like this video. And then there are other methods also for comping, which letting go of the root, starting to play on the top string and do all that beautiful voice leading that may be elusive at first. I just recommend for you to be patient, to really do your staples well and to apply them on, say, a handful of standards. And I will see you in the next video and on the website and blog, jazzguitarlessons.net. Improve your jazz guitar playing with a real teacher. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.